Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, multiple dead after huge earthquake hits Japan on New Year's Day. Many spent night in shelters. Tsunami warning downgraded to advisory. Israel Supreme Court overturns judicial reform law. 8 out of 15 judges rule against the law. India's Prime Minister to be on a 2-day visit to Tamil Nadu and Lakshadweep will inaugurate, dedicate and lay the foundation stone of multiple development projects worth over 198.5 billion rupees. In women's cricket, India looked to salvage some pride as they face dominant Australia in the third and final ODI in Mumbai. Fresh warning has been issued in Ishikawa Prefecture soon after Japan lifted tsunami alerts after a series of major earthquakes hit the island nation on New Year's Day. As per the latest reports, at least 8 people have been killed and dozens were injured as authorities struggle to assess the full extent of a disaster that wrecked buildings and roads and left thousands without power in freezing temperatures. Thousands of people living in coastal areas have spent the night in evacuation centers after being told to head to higher ground. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida assured people affected by the earthquake that help is on its way. He said he has ordered self-defense force officials to do everything they can to get to the disaster hit areas. The East Japan Railway Company has suspended all Shinkansen services on the Jotsu and Hokuriku lines through Ishikawa Prefecture after a series of powerful earthquakes up to a preliminary 7.6 magnitude have been rocking central Japan's coast since Monday afternoon. The Shinkansen, better known as the bullet train, is a network of high-speed railway lines in Japan. According to reports, passengers of a suspended Kagayaki Shinkansen train bound for Kanazawa left the train and took other routes after they received an emergency alarm via mobile phone. Currently, there is no prospect for resumption of the operations, according to the Japanese Railway Authority. The United States is ready to provide any necessary assistance to Japan following the earthquake that struck central Japan on Monday. In a statement, President Joe Biden said, "As close allies, the United States and Japan share a deep bond of friendship that unites our people. Our thoughts are with the Japanese people during this difficult time." Biden also extended its support to quake-hit Japan and is monitoring the developments following the 7.6 magnitude earthquake that struck the central parts of the country on Monday. In a statement, Britain's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said, and I quote, "Prime Minister Fumio Kishida is a great friend of the UK. My thoughts are with all those affected by the earthquake in Japan, which has caused such terrible damage." Getting you other news now, Israel's Supreme Court has struck down a judicial reform law that triggered nationwide protests last year. According to a Supreme Court statement, 8 out of the 15 judges had decided against the repeal of the reasonableness clause, which was adopted by Parliament last year. The government in July last year passed into law what is now known as the Reasonableness Bill. This removed the power of the Supreme Court and lower courts in Israel to cancel government decisions it deemed to be extremely unreasonable. The law caused widespread anger and division, prompting hundreds of thousands of protesters to take to the streets, calling for reforms to be scrapped. Meanwhile, Israeli Defense Minister said some of the Israeli communities north of the Gaza Strip will be able to go back in the near future as military operations progress. Communities were evacuated in the wake of 7th October terrorist attack by Hamas.
In accordance with the recommendations given by the IDF and the defense establishment, we will soon be able to return the displaced communities home in areas within the range of 4 to 7 kilometers north of the Gaza Strip. The first group of 7 communities has already been decided and they have received the message. The National Reconstruction Administration, Takuma, which is responsible for this national mission, will handle education and other issues, so a gradual return will be possible. In the first stage, 7 communities, and going forward, all the rest of the communities.
The United States Navy has ended the deployment of its Gerald R. Ford aircraft in the eastern Mediterranean. In a show of regional deterrence and defense posture, the deployment of the U.S. carrier started in support of Israel after October 7 terrorist attack by Hamas. The carrier will now return to its home port in Virginia. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin had extended the Ford's deployment 3 times in hopes that its presence would deter Iran and Iran-aligned groups, particularly Lebanon's Hezbollah, from attacking Israel. In the United States, hundreds of migrants from Texas arrived in Illinois on the first day of New Year. This is along the Texas state policy of relocating asylum seekers to communities run by Democrats. A total of 355 migrants arrived in Boeing 777 at the Chicago Rockford International Airport on Monday. Monday's flight is an apparent response to a Chicago city ordinance that fines bus companies who drop off migrants without notice. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson asked for more support from federal government due to heavy influx of migrants.
I've stood up 27 shelters. We are housing currently nearly 15,000 asylum seekers, providing mental care, health care, educating 4,500 students, while also creating a pathway to sustainability. But we cannot do this alone. We need more support from the federal government.
Meanwhile, Texas Governor Greg Abbott is sending thousands of migrants to Democrat-controlled cities further north to alleviate the strain on its border cities and to pressure the Democrats.
Biden's deliberate inaction has left Texas to fend for itself. The authors of the United States Constitution foresaw a situation when the federal government would be inattentive to states that faced challenges at their borders.
Ethiopia has taken the first legal steps on a path that could one day enable the landlocked country to gain access to the sea. Landlocked Ethiopia signed an initial agreement with Somalia's breakaway region of Somaliland to use its Red Sea port of Berbera. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Somaliland President Muse Bihi Abdi signed the Memorandum of Understanding in the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa. Ethiopia would be the first country to recognize Somaliland as an independent nation in due course. The agreement paves the way to allow Ethiopia to have commercial marine operations in the region by giving it access to a leased military base on the Red Sea. Somaliland would also revive a stake in state-owned Ethiopian Airlines. As a New Year bonanza, visas for Europe's open border Schengen zone were waived and hundreds of Kosovars rushed to Pristina airport to travel to EU countries. Kosovo was the only country in the West Balkans whose citizens still needed visas to travel to the EU, many of whose members are part of the program. The Schengen area allows more than 400 million people to travel freely between member countries without going through border controls. Kosovo declared independence from Serbia in 2008, but is still struggling to become a UN member state because of objections from Serbia, Russia and China. Welcoming new members in the BRICS bloc, Russian President Vladimir Putin showed commitment to promote all aspects of BRICS partnerships in all the prominent areas. Putin announced that BRICS summit will take place in Kazan in October 2024 and said that Russia is working on the modalities of a new category of BRICS partner country, pointing 30 countries have shown interest. 200 events have been planned under the Russian presidency. All right, let's get to updates on Russia-Ukraine war now. After an unprecedented attack on the Russian city of Belgorod on New Year's Eve, President Putin said that Moscow will intensify strikes on military targets in Ukraine. The attack killed 24 people and left over 100 wounded. During a visit to a military hospital, Putin said no crime against civilians will rest unpunished. Further, he called the Belgorod hit a terrorist attack and repeated the claim that Ukraine is being used by the West to settle its problems with Russia. The attack came after Moscow launched a large-scale attack on Ukrainian cities. In more updates, a Russian-installed official in the eastern region of Ukraine said that shelling in the city of Donetsk killed 4 people on Monday, while Russia's air attacks on several Ukrainian regions killed a person. The head of the Donetsk region, Denis Pushilin, said that 13 people were also injured in heavy shelling by Ukrainian forces at the center of Donetsk. In a statement, the Russian Foreign Ministry called the shelling of Donetsk a terrorist act that was aimed at civilian infrastructure. A New York driver trying to escape police struck 8 injured people, including 3 police officers, on a sidewalk in Midtown Manhattan on Monday. The incident took place a few blocks south of Times Square, where New Year festivities were coming to a close after midnight. The suspect, a 44-year-old man, was in a dispute with another man when officers arrived at the scene. New York Police Department reported that the suspect attempted to flee the scene in a black Mercedes before striking several police vehicles. U.S. energy giant ExxonMobil Corporation has formally exited the West Kurna-1 oil field in southern Iraq and handed over its operations to PetroChina as the lead contractor. Senior Iraqi oil officials met with executives from ExxonMobil, PetroChina and Basra Oil Company at the West Kurna-1 field near Basra. PetroChina holds the largest stake in the field after the departure of Exxon. The final statement, in fact, settlement recently reached between Iraq's oil ministry and Exxon has served the interest of both parties, Basim Mohammed, Deputy Oil Minister for Upstream, said. The Deputy Oil Minister also said that the government is keen to invite ExxonMobil to play a role in developing future energy projects. We take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the globe now. Disney's early version of Mickey and Minnie Mouse, one of the most iconic characters in popular culture, entered the public domain on Monday. The copyright expired according to US law after 95 years. Creatives like cartoonists can now rework and use the earlier versions of Mickey and Minnie. However, Disney warned that more modern versions of Mickey are still covered by copyright. In Croatia, dozens of swimmers took to the cold waters to make a fresh start to the new year. Dozens of swimmers, mostly dressed in striped bathing suits and Santa hats, swam in the sea at Slatina Beach in water that was 15 degrees Celsius. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India and the UAE to engage in their joint inaugural military exercise Desert Cyclone 2024 in Rajasthan. Sale of electoral bonds to start from Tuesday. Mohamed Saleh struck twice as Liverpool dismantles Newcastle United 4-2 to open up a 3-point lead at the top of the Premier League.
Welcome to Jaipur.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. Let's get to domestic updates now. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu on Tuesday. Prime Minister will attend the 38th convocation ceremony of Bharatidasan University, Tiruchirappalli. Prime Minister will also inaugurate the new terminal building at Tiruchirappalli International Airport. Developed at a cost of more than 1,100 crore rupees, the two-level new international terminal building has the capacity to serve more than 44 lakh passengers annually and about 3,500 passengers during peak hours. The new terminal hosts state-of-the-art amenities and features for passenger convenience. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also visit Lakshadweep Islands, where he will touch down on the 2nd of January and will be there till 3rd of this month. In Lakshadweep, the Prime Minister will inaugurate, dedicate and lay the foundation stone of development projects worth $140 million. Our correspondent Dibendu Mondal is in Lakshadweep and puts the upcoming Prime Minister's visit into context.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be on a two-day visit to the Lakshadweep Islands from January 2nd to 3rd of January. He will inaugurate several projects and also lay foundation stones for projects worth $140 million for the development of the island. The Prime Minister, during his visit to the island territory, will inaugurate the Kochi-Lakshadweep optical fiber connection project. This aims to improve the internet connection throughout the island for better digital connectivity. This transformative project will increase the internet speed in the island by 100 times, enabling more faster and stable internet connection for telemedicine consultation, e-governance, digital banking, amongst many other benefits. Not just this, the Prime Minister will also inaugurate a thermal desalination plant for safe and clean drinking water to the people of the island. The project will be able to filter 1.5 lakh litres of marine water every day. Prime Minister Modi will also inaugurate projects under the Jal Jeevan mission to provide clean drinking water to every household. A solar power plant for providing round-the-clock electricity will also be inaugurated. The people of the island are extremely happy with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi visiting the island on the new year, and many have expressed their happiness over this visit.
We are very happy and very proud to come in our Lakshadweep first visit, and I am very proud to see him in first time.
प्रधानमंत्री आ रहा हमारे लिए सभी को बहुत खुशी है, क्यों हमारा कुछ और डेवलपमेंट होगा और हैप्पी न्यू ईयर न्यू साल के न्यू और डेवलपमेंट के लिए हम विश्वास कर रहा हूँ और उम्मीद कर रहा हूँ पक्का डेवलपमेंट के लिए आ रहा है.
The Prime Minister will also lay foundation stone for the renovation of the primary healthcare centre at the island, and construction of 5 model Anganwadi centres will also be undertaken for the 5 islands of Lakshadweep. These transformative projects will change the face of the island and is also expected to give a boost to tourism to the islands of Lakshadweep. Dibendu Mondal's report for DD India.
Aimed at enhancing interoperability through knowledge exchange in urban operations, India and the UAE are set to engage in their inaugural joint military exercise, Desert Cyclone 2024. Collaborative military exercises play a crucial role in constructive engagements, offering an opportunity for participating nations to exchange current tactical and technological practices. The 2-week-long exercise, scheduled from January 2nd to January 15th, will unfold in the arid terrains of Rajasthan. Committed to address all humanitarian matters on priority basis, India called for an early release of Indian civilian prisoners in their custody, while also seeking the release and repatriation of missing Indian defence personnel and fishermen along with their boats from Pakistan's custody. India has shared lists of 337 civilian prisoners and 81 fishermen in its custody. In addition, Pakistan has been asked to provide immediate consular access to the remaining 12 civilian prisoners in Pakistan's custody. Under the provision of 2008 Agreement on Consular Access, such lists are exchanged every year on 1st January and 1st July. Pakistan has been requested to ensure safety, security and welfare of all Indians and believed to be Indian civilian prisoners and fishermen pending their release and repatriation to India. Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra is being undertaken across the country with the aim of attaining saturation of flagship schemes of the government through ensuring that the benefits of these schemes reach all targeted beneficiaries in a time-bound manner. The program was held in Mutala village of Atmakuru Mandal of Anantapur district in the Indian state of Andhra Pradesh on Monday. During the program, short films of the schemes implemented by the central government were shown to the public through the campaign vehicle that came on this occasion. Similarly, the officials of the respective departments explained to the people about the central government schemes. Filings of income tax returns by taxpayers hit a new high by the end of 2023 with 8.81 crore ITRs for the current assessment year 2023-24. Now, this is 9% more than the total income tax returns filed for 2022-23 under the Central Board of Direct Taxes, said in a statement. Now, as of October 31st, the total ITRs filed for all assessment years, including the current one, had hit an all-time high of 7.85 crores as compared to a total of 7.78 crores of the ITRs filed in all of 2022-23. The Ministry of Finance also said that a large number of taxpayers did their due diligence by comparing data of their financial transactions by viewing their annual information statement and taxpayer information summary. The sale of electoral bonds will start from Tuesday. It will be sold through 29 authorized branches of SBI till the 11th of January. The electoral bonds can be purchased by a person who is a citizen of India. Ministry of Finance in a statement said that in the 30th phase of sale of the bonds, SBI has been authorized to issue and encash electoral bonds. The ministry also said that the bonds will be valid for 15 calendar days from the date of issue and no payment will be made to any payee political party if the bond is deposited after expiry of the validity period. The bond deposited by the eligible political party in its account will be credited on the same day. We take a look at other stories making it to the headlines today from across India. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi urged citizens to take the Janman survey on his Namo application to share their views on the progress achieved by India in the last 10 years. In an anti-cannabis operation in the northeastern state of Tripura, the police destroyed a large plantation of cannabis on Sunday. Officials said that the operation continued for almost 5 hours. Approximately 200,000 cannabis plants were destroyed in 100 acres of land under the Forest Department. As temperatures dip in India's Jammu and Kashmir, the demand for electric blankets is on the rise. The blanket making units and small-scale industry is generating more employment opportunities for the people. The western Indian state of Gujarat welcomed the new year with a spectacular feat. Over 4,000 participants across 108 locations and 51 different categories performed the sun salutation yoga pose, creating a Guinness World Record. On to sports now. India will take on Australia in the third and final ODI at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai on Tuesday. Having already conceded the three-match series with back-to-back defeats, the Indian women's cricket team will be hoping to mount a backfight and salvage some pride before the action shifts to T20 series. India lost the opportunity to equalize the series, losing the second ODI by 3 runs. Indian skipper Harmanpreet Kaur has not been at her best with the bat in recent times. She has had tough times during only the test and the first 2 ODIs versus Australia. Meanwhile, Richa Ghosh and Jemimah Rodriguez have been in good form for India, but they need the openers to set a platform for them in the power play. Mohamed Saleh scored twice in Liverpool's 4-2 win against Newcastle United on Monday as they open up a 3-point lead at the top of the Premier League. Saleh missed the opening period's best chance when he had a penalty saved, but the forward, who will now join Egypt at the Africa Cup of Nations, tapped home a cross for the first and then converted a second spot kick in the closing stages. The 31-year-old Saleh, who has 151 Premier League goals for Liverpool, sits even with City's Erling Haaland as joint top scorers with 14 goals in the season. Liverpool began the day level with Aston Villa on points, now have 45 from 20 games. Villa have 42 points, while Manchester City, who have played one fewer game, are third on 40. Newcastle are ninth on 29. That's it in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and also Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.